Hello, is this working? I have no idea if this is working or not. Hopefully it is. It's been at least like 3 months since I've done this. Maybe. Possibly. Who knows? Let me see here. Please let me know if you can hear me. I'm sure you will. I wish YouTube had a function that showed if you have audio or not. That would be a really cool thing that they could do. Well, let me go over here and then we will start whatever the hell this is going to be. Oops. It would help if I typed a message. Okay. I've done that. Hello. All right. Melanie can hear me. Awesome. So, hey, folks. Not my usual setup, obviously. I bought a new computer, which was not my plan, but I think in the long run, it's going to be useful. Also got new headset. Freaking finally. My old set, I don't know where it went. My old set was actually a pair of Children's Kingdom Hearts headphones. Because well, they were cute and I liked them, but they're too small and they hurt when you're like streaming or editing video for 5 hours, and they're too small and they kill your head anyway. So I did that. I'm not streaming from that computer right now because I'm literally in the middle of setting it up. And let's see if I can. I accidentally made the mistake of transferring a bunch of files, and it's been transferring those files for like 3 hours. And if I stop now, I lose all that progress. So I can't stop and stream. And it just, anyway. So I'm on my laptop. It is let's see if we can get a Legion, which I had never heard of before, but apparently is a video game computer thing. It was open box, so it was on sale and had the specs I was looking for. I also got, it's just a box back there, a external drive that's an actual like dedicated 8 terabyte drive because in the past I've been using like 3 different 1 terabyte drives to store everything, and it's been stupid and ridiculous, and I've lost data. And so I'm going to have 1 dedicated big giant drive now, and that's part of what's being moved. Let's see if I can pop you back on. Can you come back on, computer? You woke up earlier. Why won't you wake up now? It's mad at me. Anyway, so I wanted to stream today and test out the new computer, but at this rate, it's going to be another 3 hours before it's done. So I guess that's not what we're doing today, but I wanted to check in and show y'all the cool new toy. I mean, this thing is huge and you can actually like see inside of it. How cool is that? That is just wild, except, well, now you're just seeing the reflection of my laptop. Does that mean I'll be able to stream PC games that are, yeah. So according to this guy, this thing should be strong enough that I should be able to like stream and game and do pretty well with it. In the past, I've had 2 desktop towers where I stream on one and I game on the other, and I run it through like the game console, and that's worked pretty well. Whereas recently trying to stream from the PC or game on the PC I'm streaming on it's just not worked. This is supposed to be a gaming PC, so it is supposed to be capable of doing that. I mean, so far it looks pretty great. It runs real fast. It's done well with everything I've been working on today. It's just that I have 3 terabytes worth of data that I started moving, and I thought it would be done moving by now, but I am bad at judging time. And now it won't even wake up. I don't know what button do I need to hit to wake you up, computer? Sometimes I think it's this monitor because it's just an old $10 monitor. I bought it at Goodwill, but it's cool. I like it. It's a nice little monitor, and it's not $200. God, I was looking at monitors today at freaking Best Buy. Holy cow. What? Though they have some really, really cool touchscreen ones. Unfortunately, all the touchscreens were built all in one, which means that had really shitty graphics card and stuff. Like, it wasn't really top of the line, but it was touchscreen, which is so cool. This laptop is touchscreens because I draw, and I find it easier to draw on a touchscreen. And I really, as soon as I saw that, I really wanted it, but it's not good for anything else. Like, it's just not, the technology's not there yet. So one day, anyway, it will not even wake up now. Are you just permanently asleep, computer? Did I kill you? You're definitely still on. You're still like vrooming and stuff. Yeah, listen. I started moving the data at like, oops. Yeah, round 1. I thought it would be done. I thought I had time. Anyway, y'all know me. I'm not good at judging time or anything. So that's really bright. I'm just gonna do that. Bob, wake up. Say hi. Hello, Bob. Hello, Bob. You're so lazy. Why don't you come say hi? Love to stream Final Fantasy VIII. I would too. I'm very excited about things that I might possibly be able to stream, and how well it maybe emulates the things that I have on my PS3 right now. I think it might be neat if I could eventually set this up as like a dedicated console. I could maybe move the PS3 into the other room and have it be in the TV room. I don't know. We'll have to see. So research, I've been working on Silent Hill Origins. I figured I would jump into researching it because I wanted to turn the history project into something that was kind of like jumped around the games a little more, since I think that'll entice people more. And I knew the least about Origins. So I was like, okay, let's dive into researching Silent Hill Origins and figure out what's going on with that game. Holy cow, I had no idea how wild the development of that game was and the trials and tribulations it went through. Holy cow, no wonder it turned out like, I'm kind of just amazed it's a video game. Like, it exists. How did that happen? Without going into too much detail, since obviously I'm going to make a video on it maybe this week, Konami gave it to a company, and then basically, well, they gave it to them because they made PSP games before. And that was still kind of new. This was like 2005. PSP was kind of a new thing, if I remember right. That was around the PS3 time too. I think they came out around the same time. So they gave it to the studio that had like 4 games to their name. The director had really basically never directed a solo project before, like just chose them because they'd made PSP games, and then they fucked off and said, bye. They didn't give them any instruction, like no design document. Like, that just baffles me, where you think about a game like Mario or Zelda, like any Nintendo property, you got to imagine that Nintendo's got like a 300-page book about what you can and cannot do with their property. There's a strict, this is what the thing is. They didn't have it. Literally multiple interviews. The team basically says, Konami did not communicate with us. Konami did not give us any documents. Konami did not give us any, like, nothing. And then it took people at UK Climax chiming in and checking out the project to go to Konami and say, hey guys, this they're having trouble down there. You might want to like knock on the door, check in. And it took forever for them to even give a like, they clearly just kind of was like, hey, here you go. We are done. Like, God, what a terrible company. How do you not? You're taking Silent Hill. It's just obvious they don't care about Silent Hill or like any of their game properties. They just don't. Nintendo, all of its flaws and everything, you can tell they give a shit about the properties they own. Like Mario, Zelda, they put them up on Metroid. They put them on a pedestal. They care for them. They try to make them good, you know? And then Konami doesn't give any shits about any of it. Konami had become kind of lazy assholes by that point. Well, this is the switch when K-Set went under, because that would be 2006. There was a short time period where K-Set and the original developers were still around, and the Western developers were working at the same time. And there was only one point of connection. It was Akira Yamaoka, and they basically just had some phone calls. They were doing their own, you know, project that then got axed, and we never got to see the light of day. God, just Konami doesn't give a shit about anything. It's the worst game company. And the thing is, I was looking at researching all their numbers and stuff. They don't give a shit because of PES. Because when it comes, well, not just that, other they make money through other things as well. But the soccer series, which was Pro Evolution Soccer, it's something else now. It makes them so well. It did make them so much money. I mean, so like hundreds of thousands of bajillions of dollars, like 4 or 5 times more units sold on those games than Castlevania, Silent Hill, Metal Gear, all that. I mean, I think back in the day, Silent Hill and Metal Gear might have given Pez a run for their money, but by the time of like, nowadays with soccer and sports games getting so big, Pez dispensers. No, Pro Evolution Soccer, it's the short term for their soccer games, which are no longer called that, possibly because it was, I don't know. They just made so much money. No wonder for a long time, there's a period where the only game series they give a shit about is Pro Evolution Soccer. And that's because it makes them bajillions, specifically in Europe. Specifically, you can look, they have a map in one of them where it says Silent Hill, #1 in the United States. Tokimeki Memorial, #1 in Japan. #1 in Europe, soccer. By a lot, because it had like the top 5, and the next one was like 500,000 units less than that one. It's wild how much they love soccer over there. It's just amazing. But I've heard and I've seen video about how terrible the last one is, and it's like, you fucked up the last thing you had that you were doing any good with. You fucked up. And supposedly, according to some interviews, Konami said that lately they've done like cleaning in house and they've tried to like fix things. I guess theoretically that could have been after the game had already been made and development was basically finished. But theoretically, Konami says that they've fixed some of their issues, because there have been a lot of articles coming out lately about how hellish it has been to work there. It's a video game company, it's Konami, but I had no idea how deep the Silent Hill Origins problems went. Like, I'd heard a little bit, and I figure most video games tend to have, struggles in their development, more or less. But basically, when the team that actually would end up getting to make Origins got Origins, it was basically set in stone. Like, they couldn't change. They didn't have the money. They didn't have the time. They couldn't change anything. Sam Barlow rewrote this story in a week, and he had to use all the same cutscenes because they couldn't redo cutscenes. They couldn't redo like the locations. Some of them were already built. I think they probably like re-edited them and cleaned them up, but like the sanitarium was not even in the plot of Silent Hill Origins. It just was a level they made because they wanted a sanitarium and they thought it would be cool. And so Sam Barlow's there like, well, what the plot point? What's the point? And so that's where the background came, where Travis's mom was in a sanitarium, because they had to connect him to it somehow to make it make sense that he was there. Like, duh. God, it just sounds baffling how wild the development of this was. And I don't know, some of it kind of reminds me, now follow me on this, it sounds a little bit like they were trying to make Devil May Cry 3 a little bit. So Devil May Cry 3 comes out in 2005. It's around that time that they're putting together who's going to make the next game. And then in 2006, like August, is when Climax LA kind of no, because it was an article in November. So sometime in 2006, they kind of crash and burn and it's sent elsewhere. And the game was supposed to be a dark comedy. It was more action oriented. It had like an RE4 camera. And there's a character that runs around called Mr. Twilight. That's a guy in a mask who like taunts the player and leads them in the right direction of the plot. And then in the end of the game is revealed to be Kaufman, the actual bad guy. Which is like, that's what the Jester does in Devil May Cry 3. And it is also an action-heavy game with horror elements. And I don't know. I just wonder if that's not like they were looking around for a successful Japanese horror-esque title and saw Devil May Cry 5 and were like, okay, I mean, what else? I just... God, some of the decisions they were making, it looks so goofy. There's a researcher, Borman, who runs a YouTube channel that has a lot of the data and stuff of the original build of Silent Hill Origins, because a while back there was a sale of a bunch of demo discs and stuff from the company, and he managed to grab some of it and download it and put it on the internet. So now there's like a bunch of, we know a lot more about it than we did like 10 years ago. And it looks rough. I actually wanted to download and set up the demos and play them today, but like I said, my computer is still working on setup and moving files, so that'll be tomorrow. But dude, there is some cool stuff there. Oh, here we go. We are 60% complete. There we go. It woke up and it's still mad at me. See, my problem was I think I had it move so many files that it just stopped. The mouse won't work anymore. It won't let me cancel it. So even if I wanted to, I could not cancel it. So we just have to wait until it's done, which will probably be like 2 more hours. So that's why I'm streaming here now. What was I talking about? Silent Hill Origins and how bonkers it is. Man, that Mr. Twilight thing just drives me nuts. Like, how did that make any sense? Just looks so weird. Some of the cutscenes with that just... why was that your plan? And again, like, if you look at who was chosen to make it, it feels like Konami just made a call on bad data and then didn't stay interacting with them enough to notice and realize that they had kind of backed the wrong team. It's not that team's fault. You know, if you look at what they were making before, they'd made like a Hilary Duff game on the Game Boy. They'd made like a port of an Xbox game. Like, they'd only had a handful of titles under their belt and just happened to have some experience on the PSP, and that's what made Konami choose them. And I think they were doing their best and just really didn't know what they got into. Unfortunately, when you read articles about what happened, it ended up kind of tanking the company, and 16 people lost their jobs in the middle of it. The producer left, another guy left, I think a art lead, and by the time next year, they just crashed. They're just gone. Which really stinks. But I think at least part of that is probably Konami kind of backed somebody that really wasn't prepared and then did not help them to prepare, did not support them in any way. And part of it, from the sounds of it, may also have been bad management there. It's hard to know because this is really old and coverage of it was not that in-depth. I feel like back then, especially, kind of bad management in gaming was not given the kind of limelight that it is now, where nowadays a lot more people are going to talk about it. I've only found like 2 articles about what happened, and they are very sparse on why the game tanked. But it seems like, my theory, Konami did not help. They did not pick a company that was really prepared and knew what they were getting into. And then the people that were managing that project really did a shit job, unfortunately. Could have had it all. Sam Barlow didn't even think there should be a Silent Hill prequel. The guy, he ends up writing the story that was the prequel. And there's an interview where he's like, yeah, I don't think you should do a prequel to Silent Hill, but we didn't really have a choice. It was already that. Couldn't undo that. And all the FMV they had to keep, which is like all the weird stuff with Alessa being all, it's just, God, weird. And Lisa being in it. That's always been my biggest gripe with Origins, is Lisa just doesn't fit. I mean, timeline-wise, like, what is medical school in Silent Hill? Did she go to doctor college at 12? Like, she was 12 years old? She went... It just timeline-wise doesn't fit at all. And then the way that she ends up being used is also... She was so much better as the like creepy manifestation, and the story did not set up that way. They just didn't have the time or the resources, and they were locked into what had already been started. So you can go to LinkedIn and find most everyone's accounts, like folks that are still in the gaming industry and trying to get jobs and stuff. And they share their work history and what they've worked on. And one of the most fascinating things is there's a feature in LinkedIn where at the bottom, you can have someone recommend you. Basically, one of your coworkers can write you a review. You can write a review for someone else. And if you follow this trail, you can read through those recommendations from Silent Hill Origins like coworkers. And it sounds like people just like covered in grime and debris, just patting each other like, oh, we did it. We did it, man. Like, they manage in very horribly hard situations. They are great hard workers in tough times. They really buckled down and they managed it in a hard situation. Like, if you read through the lines, you're like, oh yeah, this sounds like they did not have a fun time. This was very hard for them. But it did earn them enough clout with Konami that they managed to save the project that they got to do Silent Hill Shattered Memories, which is like top tier, way better. And it may not even be my favorite Silent Hill, but it's just a good game. You know, it is a great title. Downpour is still my favorite, but I haven't even started falling down that rabbit hole because I know if I do, I'll get distracted and I want to finish this project first. We're at 62%. God. So yeah, I just wanted to check in and do something today since I haven't streamed for a while. Last week I took some time off because I heard about a indie bookseller that was doing a open submission for horror novels, and I wanted to do that. So I took a couple days off and I cleaned up one of my drafts, and we'll see. I don't know. I'm torn because I really do enjoy kind of publishing my own books with the nonfiction. That's been a lot of fun. And it's done real well. I have sold hundreds of copies of my books. Probably a different scenario for doing my own fiction, but I could see where I might enjoy having that kind of control. But also the validation of being officially published at a company would be cool too. But I have to wait 3 months to hear from them. And my ADD ass just wants to know now. So that's what's going on there. And then I did Silent Hill Symbolism over the weekend. Rewrote that twice, which is why it took time. I kept changing what I was going to do with it. And I know that some of what I talked about in the last episode was in previous episodes. It felt familiar, but I watched back. I couldn't find the episodes that I mentioned the stuff in. And I figured I never got to talk about the like doll and the creature drawing on the wall and what it officially was, because I had officially found it. I searched for that thing for months. And so I wanted to do that. That was cool. That was mostly so I could show that I had found the that one amulet I'd been looking for. Like, yes. And yeah, that's what I've been doing the last week and why we've not been streaming that much. I was gonna stream today. Oh, tomorrow we actually are getting our first official sponsorship. I'm streaming a video game called War Mongrels that comes out tomorrow. I've not tried it yet. I was gonna do that. Well, I guess I can't try it until the morning because that's when it comes out. But they've given me a copy of the game, and it is like a shooty, explory, kind of sneaky, kind of, what do they call that? Isometric something game. I'll have to look it up and actually know something and say something smart when I play it. But that'll be tomorrow. I don't know what time, probably like 2-ish, I guess. And then more essay videos one day, eventually, when this computer is working again. Silent Hill Origins is probably going to be the next thing. And then I don't know what that Fatal Frame video is almost done. One day. Thanks, guys. That was very exciting, cool news that I got this morning. That was fun. I'm still dreaming and hoping of the day that more horror stuff notices me, because that would just be perfect. But this at least is like close enough to my wheelhouse where I was like, okay, yes, you are not a clothing store in Texas trying to advertise on my channel. A thing that has happened. Clothing store in Texas. Anyway, what are we doing for Halloween? I don't know. I'm leaving town the very next day. Family has been trying to get us to come visit for a while, and I've been putting them off because October is busy. And so now I won't have that excuse anymore. So November 1st, we're leaving. So I don't know how late it'll be, but I'll stream something that day for sure. Figure something out. Hope to make a couple more videos since we're getting late in the month. I'm going to try and ramp it up and do a couple more. Sponsors by Joanne's Fabric. Like, yeah, like I'm at the like level of YouTuber where I get requests for sponsorships, and none of them, like 90% of them, are bonkers, or they don't match what I'm doing, or they are probably for trash, or they're like automated. Hello, YouTube person. We have a product. We see you have a YouTube channel. Would you like to have money for product? I'm like, no. Not going to advertise your Texas clothing store. Oh, thank you, Dana. I'm glad you enjoyed that one. That one was fun, but also it's always rough doing videos that are on those kind of themes because YouTube doesn't always like them as much, which is why the title does not say religion in it. I can never guess how YouTube's going to react to specific titles or videos, but we're figuring it out. I mean, all in all, the channel's doing very well right now. October numbers have been great. Views and subs have been fantastic. It was at one point Social Blade, which is not the most accurate thing, but it was saying that it would be something like 4 years before I got to 30,000 K. And now it's saying it'll be next year that I get to 30,000 K, which is pretty cool, especially since in the past, Social Blade's always been a little under what actually happens. I tend to grow faster than Social Blade says. So maybe eventually we'll get those numbers that actually get me a Shutter subscription or something. I don't know. That would be cool. Anyway, just wanted to check in and let y'all know that I am not dead and show off the new computer. Happy birthday, Daniel. So tomorrow we'll do that stream, more Mongoose, and I will try and post another essay video in the next day or two. And yeah, that'll be it. I think that's all the news that I have. I have to keep talking for a minute because if I cut it now, YouTube will get rid of like the last minute of this video. So thanks to everybody chiming in and joining me for this impromptu vlog. Thanks to all the members for supporting the channel. We now have 175 people on Patreon and YouTube. You are all amazing. Thank you. Did anybody hear anything? I don't hear anything. Any word from Bob and Merlin? Bob and Merlin? Do you mean my cats? My cats are Bob and Gandalf. Bob, wake up. Hey, Bob. He says, don't do that. Oh, I've been attacked. I'm being attacked. Viciously. Vicious attacking. Ah. Ow. Ow. Vicious. 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 Ow. 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 I'm gonna have to commission I don't know what do y'all hear somebody? I don't hear anything. I'm being attacked by a cat. So I guess I'm gonna go handle the cat and I will see you guys next time.